evidently a club's perspective. And what is the biggest topic that we've been talking about in the last months, or at least since President Jeffrey took chair as UEFA chairman, is competitive balance. I'm certain to showcase games, that bring and leave the pathos all the way till the end of the game. Competitive balance is great as a single element, but then it becomes very, very difficult to define competitive balance. I mean, obviously UEFA has a point of view, the leagues have a different point of view, us clubs have a point of view, but it is absolutely very difficult to actually perspective. I can take cars to give you an example. I mean, obviously the attention that we will dedicate to England, Germany, Italy, France and Spain is bigger than the other countries, simply because you have more people, more spending capacity and more margins to be achieved. And that was a tremendous breakout. That means that broadcasters started heavily investing in football, shifting much of the financial capacities towards those big countries. As we all know it, initially the rights, as it came out, it was something that was negotiated individually by clubs, and it then followed through in mandatory distribution systems. In some countries, evidently, this happened through the FA or the organizing league. In other countries, it happened through a state law, and that is the case of Spain, as we are right now, or Italy, where I'm coming from. Or I take the benchmark in the best in class, England, it was the Premier League that started collectivizing the rights and selling English football globally since 20 years. So that is something that changed the panorama of trade.
Well, of course, I would hope so anyway. Very broad-ranging, and I'm sure we've all got things to reflect on as a result of that. Sectors and organisations about the potential prospect of taking a La Liga game to the United States in January. Just give me your general perspective on this topic as a whole.
Well, it's evidently it's very hot. I mean, a lot of people commenting on that. I think, again, it's business development models. I mean, and it's something that one should be looking at. Super Cups in various associations have already been taken abroad. You think of Italian, we played in New York, we played in Africa, we played in the Gulf states. It's something that it's easy to be done because it's outside a calendar. When I look about league games played outside your domestic, whatever, your boundaries, I mean, people who do run businesses better than us, and I think of the NFL or I think the NBA, they play away from the United States. So it's something that should be looked at, and I think...
That's been in place for just a year in Australia. So the club players in the National League.
Cuáles son sus preocupaciones, qué es lo que esperan. Al final, cada fin de semana hay jugadoras que van a jugar los domingos con una mochila cargada de piedras. Y una mochila es de tener que compaginar un trabajo, de falta de horas de sueño, de no alimentarse adecuadamente, porque no solo son las horas que pasamos entrenando, ¿no? Son las horas de descanso, de prepararte la comida, los viajes. Entonces queremos que se nos trate como cualquier otro profesional, ¿no? Y queremos que esas mochilas que llevan las jugadoras algunas jugadoras los fines de semana, porque sí que es verdad que han cambiado mucho las cosas, pues que todas las jugadoras de la liga puedan competir en igualdad de condiciones, ¿no? Y además nosotras como deportistas vivimos de la buena salud de nuestro cuerpo, y a las futbolistas les preocupa mucho eso, que tengamos una atención médica adecuada, que entrenemos en las mejores condiciones, en los mejores campos, que nuestros viajes pues sean los más cortos posibles para facilitar nuestro descanso.
Y por darme la oportunidad de hablar aquí. No soy muy dada a este tipo de comparaciones porque creo que las comparaciones son un poco odiosas, y más cuando todavía no hemos conseguido la igualdad que pretendemos, ¿no? Pero sí que es cierto que yo creo que seremos de los clubes que menos nos podemos quejar porque las instalaciones de Lezama son nuestras también. Jugamos siempre en hielo natural, tenemos el mismo staff médico que tienen los chicos, estamos cubiertas en caso de baja, si hay una incapacidad también, tenemos muchas cosas que podrían estar en ese convenio colectivo y que igual hay otros clubes que no tienen, pero que son importantes para nosotras, para poder dedicarnos a esto como creemos que nos merecemos. Es cierto que este es el primer año que tenemos una dedicación exclusiva con una jornada completa, que para nosotras era muy importante. No sé cuántos de los clubes de la primera división femenina podrán decir esto, pero se van dando pasos. Yo llevo muchos años en el fútbol, soy veterana ya, y desde que yo empecé hasta ahora, la verdad es que el cambio ha sido muy grande. Es cierto que durante unos años...
There was only one European country. After Russia, second place was the US. Their team never qualified. In the top 10 was China. Their team never qualified. The rest of the countries were Latin American. Russia distribution was quite amazing for us, and it entailed certain logistical challenges, because there were a lot of people who came across the ocean and they stayed during the whole period. They never
Ahora sí que tenemos el micrófono inalámbrico, lo tiene Adrián. Entonces, if you have a question for Mr. Sorokin, please raise your hands. Okay, right, we're going to take a couple. We've got two over there. So, the gentleman with your hand up right there in the middle, Adrián, ¿lo ves? Could you stand up, please?
Past World Cup 2018 actually helped in making sure that foreign players in Russia actually doesn't face the difficulties they used to face before. Thank you.
Well, even the first part of the question is arguable, because I've been in football for 10 years now. I was general secretary of our federation for 2 years. I know every club owner, and I can assure you that in Russia, every foreign football player has a different experience. Some love it, some don't, but it's natural. We're all people. Russian players abroad may experience same things when they play in some other countries. So it works for some people, it doesn't for others. It's quite normal. In general, I think if we focus on the World Cup, it absolutely set a precedent of universal tolerance. It showed our country that football is universal, that it has a huge unifying power. If we're talking about, and I can see a hint of reference to racism issues, I can assure you that the situation in Russia, as many countries, has improved drastically over the last 5 years. We haven't had a single incident in many years now having to do with racism. Those are kind of difficulties that you're referring to. But the World Cup is a great remedy to every football sickness.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen.
De donar un porcentaje de mi salario para organizaciones que utilizan el fútbol como herramienta para el desarrollo de muchos niños y niñas. Y a partir de ese momento hemos crecido sin parar. Hemos fichado a muchísimos jugadores y jugadoras, somos más de 60. Hemos fichado a clubes. Hoy tenemos la representación de nuestro primer club a través de Tom Vernon, el club FC Norseland de Dinamarca y su academia Right to Dream, que nos han dado la ilusión de creer cómo se pueden hacer cosas diferentes en el mundo del fútbol hoy en día. Tenemos con nosotros a Alexander Seferin, el presidente de UEFA, entrenadores, 5 entrenadores, y por supuesto también marcas y compañías que
7,000 people at the Wanda Metropolitano with a brilliant illusion at Atletico's final league game of the season last season. He is an illusionist. He's worked with David Copperfield. You could call him an entrepreneur in entertainment. He is a high flyer, really quite... Moderating. David Espinar, asesor de comunicación y reputación de Ronaldo. También Julio Sen, socio director de Sen Ferrero y Asociados. Y
Carlos Suárez, presidente del Real Valladolid. Por favor, demos la bienvenida. Hola, David. Lo de magia, pero vamos a mostrarte algo para que estés más cómodo aquí, ¿ok? Tú vas a estar... me gustaría que tocaras este papel. ¿Puedes tocar este papel? ¿Este papel? ¿Sí?
Bueno, thanks for being here with us. Gracias.
Muchísimo entusiasmo de la gente que nos facilita muchísimo las cosas, ¿no? Una gran afición, un potencial de crecimiento muy grande. Son los primeros aspectos